The burn variation in the French defense is the final variation we'll be covering in the classical variation of the French defense. Afterwards, there will be 2 more videos. First, how to handle the Winnower with the Alekhine Maratti, and then next, what to do if they play the Rubinstein. But this episode is on the burn variation. I have a very cool attacking system for you all. It's very simple to play, and will get you some very fun attacking games, which against the French is easier said than done. So, they take our pawn, the burn variation. Here, we're always going to recapture the pawn with our knight. The only moves really played here are bishop e7 and knight bd7. We'll go over knight bd7 later, it's a lot more rare at the club level. We'll start with bishop e7, and it's extremely important to remember here, we're going to play a very counterintuitive couple of moves, starting by capturing with our dark bishop unprompted. Now you probably know you shouldn't be trading off bishops for knights without a good justification, so what's our reasoning here? Well, because after we capture, they have a choice of either capturing back with their g-pawn or with their bishop. The engine prefers taking with g-pawn and opening up their king, but as you can see, most people opt to capture with bishop, and if they do capture with bishop, we're going to immediately blunt their bishop with c3, and this is the system we are always going to be playing for. The first thing I want to point out is it's a goal of ours in the French usually to trade off the dark bishop. That's no exception here, but we are going to delay it because there are going to be a lot of very nice tactics associated with capturing this bishop. So I know it feels weird not capturing our opponent's best minor piece, but we do have a very strong tactical justification. So let's follow the most common moves from our opponent. Most people here will castle, and here the next move in our system is going to be bishop d3, lining up our bishop with their king. Note, they no longer have a knight defending that square, and if we start to think about this from our opponent's perspective, it should be very obvious that, as in the French with a pawn on e6, our opponent's dark bishop really doesn't look like it has a future here. So with that in mind, the most common move by far, b6, should be pretty obvious, even though it's a pretty terrible mistake, which brings us to the tactical theme I mentioned earlier, queen f3. Now if this theme doesn't come up, our queen is going to want to come to c2 and create a battery, and then we'll usually want a knight on this square, preferably behind a pawn. But an important move to remember is when they play b6, we're going to play queen f3 because it's going to force them into playing c6. Let's look at what happens if they don't play c6 and instead opt for bishop b7. We'll of course capture with check, they capture back, and we grab that bishop. So what happens if they don't blunder early? Let's say they played knight d7, the best move. Here we stick to our plan with queen c2. h6 makes perfect sense to me. Our plan for the middle game is h4, g4, g5, we're going to castle long. We want this knight preferably behind a pawn. Overall, it's an extremely natural attacking position. Let's look at another similar position. Next, let's look at the third most common move, knight c6, and the engine really hates this one. And here we can go ahead and start with f4, opening up the square for our knight. After all, we no longer have our tactical reason for keeping the f3 square open for our queen. They can deliver the check if they want, I guess, but we're going to castle queenside anyways, after developing our queen to the c2 square. Next, we'll be playing the exact same kind of pawn storm we saw in the last line. Again, this is a very chill, very easy attacking system for white. I find these lines extremely natural and very easy to play, and very uncomfortable for my opponent, especially when it comes to finding a way to develop their light bishop. So that's my attacking system against the main line of the burn. Back to our starting position now. They capture the burn variation, we capture back like always with our knight, preparing to take with our bishop. They play bishop e7, we capture, and this time I'd like to look at what happens if they play the more accurate, in my opinion, g takes f6. And you may notice this line is named after Morozevich, which is not great news for us. But luckily for us, this damaged pawn structure on the king side makes our attacking plan very obvious. They haven't developed a single one of their queenside pieces, of course. Since their king can't really castle kingside, and it's going to take a while until they can castle queenside, it's going to be our goal to attack in the middle of the board and to open things up. In the French, we have 2 thematic queen moves. We have queen g4. Queen g4 might look promising at first as it cuts them off from castling, but their e6 pawn isn't cemented in place like it usually is in the French, and we're also hanging our d pawn. So better instead is to play queen d3 here. We're going to castle long, play f4, and develop naturally. And for the record, I did in fact steal queen d3 from a novelty played in 2024. And if we quickly go through their game in this line, as you can see, it gets absolutely insane. White is going for a massive kingside attack. Black ends up castling queenside, but if we look how it ends, and the game ends with white finding this crazy mate in 9, where he walks the opponent's king all the way up the board. So if you're a crazy attacking player like I am, you should definitely take queen d3 for a spin. So after we start with queen d3, our plan is going to be castling long, playing to open the center with d5, and otherwise naturally developing our pieces. Fianchettoing the light bishop can be good specifically in this line because of the open g file, then also because of the fact that black tends to play for sort of a slow castle queenside as opposed to castling into whatever this is. The final line we have to cover is extremely popular at the top grandmaster level, but it's almost never seen at the club level. Is this idea of knight b to d7, and considering this is a very solid option played at the top level, we're going to have to try extra hard to find interesting games against it. My recommendation here is starting by developing our bishop to d3, adding some support to this knight. Afterwards, pretty much everyone is going to opt for bishop e7, and if you watched the previous video on the Alekhine shattered attack, you may be noticing some similarities here, and you probably understand why I'm recommending the novelty h4 here. Now this is a move that's never been seen at the master level, but it's a pet line of mine that's been fairly successful. So what's the idea behind this move? Similarly to in the Alekhine shattered attack, we're gambiting our h-pawn in order to open up our file and develop with tempo. Let's see how this plays out. Across the board, about half of players will capture. Here we'll capture back with our bishop, getting our bishop on this nice diagonal. Afterwards, they can accept the gambit by capturing. We grab it with our h-pawn, and they grab it back with their queen. Now, unlike most lines in the Alekhine shattered, where we would develop this knight to h3 with tempo, we're not going to do that here, because we're not interested in blocking this rook now that the file's been opened up. Instead, we're going to develop with tempo with knight f3, baiting them into yet another gambit. They capture, of course, rook g1, and I've said it before, but my stated goal in the French defense is to trade off the opponent's dark bishop and to attack the king side as early and as aggressively as possible, and I think this line is the best way to do both of those things. We'll follow some of the most common moves to see a typical middle game. Once they try developing their light bishop, we'll go and get our stonewall knight. And then just to show you, of course, if they ever castle at any point, they're just losing. Because we have so much pressure on this h7 pawn, but it's important not to capture it prematurely. So we sacrifice the pawn, but in return, we get a really easy attacking game. And the final line to go over in my novelty, I guess first b6, queen f3 still works. But the only other move to go over is h6. Not accepting the gambit. And here I would recommend retreating back to e3 and insisting that they accept the gambit. Once again, if they play b6, we have queen f3, setting tactics on this diagonal. But more commonly, our opponent will capture. And here we're tempting them with one final gambit, literally on our knees, begging the French defense player for an interesting game. Because if they accept it, we get to play the very thematic queen g4 with tempo. And then after bishop f6 and castling long, we have the makings of a very nice attacking game. And our opponent's light bishop is in the sunken place. If you try this out in a game, make sure to let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and we'll be covering the Alekhine Gambit next.